I'm Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap, where we catch you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. We begin with sad news out of Central Oregon. We heard from friends of the Bend couple who died earlier this week in an avalanche near Broken Top Peak north of Mount Bachelor. Terry and Renee Shearshaw have deep roots in the Bend community. Terry's family owns a long-standing ski shop in town, and both he and Renee enjoyed spending time in the outdoors. Their friends say they were good people who made a lasting impact on those who knew them and loved them.
It was tragic. These accidents happen, but when it happens to a friend of yours or someone you've known and been associated with, it's that much harder.
Sitting together having a date night, and I ended up just running into him, and we ended up chatting for a long time. And, you know, now I look back and it's pretty special.
So tough. The Deschutes County Sheriff's Office search and rescue team recovered their bodies on Tuesday. The sheriff expressed condolences, saying, quote, "The lives they touched are a testament to the spirit and resilience that make Central Oregon such a special place to live." Now to new video of an attempted murder in downtown Portland. This week, the Multnomah County DA's office released this video taken in 2023. The release came hours after a judge sentenced the shooter to 17.5 years in prison for attempted murder, among other charges. Alma McCarty has the story.
This is a very violent case from March of 2023.
Video from that early morning incident near Old Town, captured by Chevron gas station cameras, first shows a silver car and the passenger getting out with a gun. A second angle shows what happened next.
And basically ran into a party bus and fired at least 6 rounds into that party bus and shot someone and seriously injured him.
Officers found that victim unconscious behind Dante's on Burnside, with gunshot wounds to the stomach, thigh, and left arm. Multnomah County District Attorney Nathan Vasquez says as the victim recovered in the hospital, law enforcement worked to identify the suspect. A month after the incident, police arrested Dwayne Driver. Then, in December 2024, a jury found Driver guilty on multiple charges, including attempted murder. And it wasn't the first time.
You have an individual that's now been convicted of attempted murder twice, and that's outrageous and unacceptable. And so, of course, we're going to be seeking the maximum sentence when you have someone who is engaged in such violent behavior and endangered our community in such a way.
That previous conviction in Washington County dates back to 2014. Prosecutors say he was behind bars for more than 7 years. Wednesday's sentence carries more weight.
In a situation like this, when you're dealing with someone who they've been to prison and then they go out and do the same thing, it really just shows a heightened danger to the community. And so it's one that we really need to take seriously.
In Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
A Salem man has been charged in a New Year's Eve murder. Police say 51-year-old Jason Perillo killed 41-year-old Catherine Cross. She was found dead inside her RV in Wilsonville New Year's Eve. Police say Perillo was an acquaintance to Cross. He was arrested in Salem February 7th. On the education front, rural school districts in both Oregon and Washington are facing some big cuts. That's if Congress doesn't act. On Thursday, Washington Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez was in town urging support to reauthorize the Secure Rural Schools Act. Congress first enacted the bipartisan law back in the year 2000. But after not getting the green light in the House last year, federal money is now in limbo.
We are not talking about luxury programs here. We are talking about having heating and cooling and an AC system in our schools at a time when the classroom temperatures can reach 85 degrees on the inside. This is craziness.
So we are committed to doing everything we can to make cuts furthest from the classroom. But without SRS funds, we will be left to cover budget deficits with levy dollars and reserves.
In addition to schools, the money also impacts roads and law enforcement. In fact, the Skamania County Sheriff says positions have been cut due to a lack of money from the Secure Rural Schools Act. In Northeast Portland, protesters rallied against federal layoffs. KGW's Catherine Cook spoke to people who recently were fired.
No king, no crown, we won't back down.
Outside the federal building in Northeast Portland, a message to the Trump administration as mass federal layoffs continue.
You don't need to come in with a sledgehammer and knock everything down and disrupt people's lives and take their jobs away from them.
Patty Espy is a retired nurse. She's shaken by layoffs at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and National Institutes of Health. The federal agencies have lost about 5,200 workers as diseases like bird flu and COVID-19 bear down.
I worked back in the day when AIDS first came. And if it wasn't for the CDC and the National Institute of Health to help us, we didn't know what it was. We didn't know how to take care of the patients.
I was fired yesterday morning.
Dane Gallish drove 5.5 hours to be here. He was a botanist at the Immigrant Creek Ranger District in the Malheur National Forest, one of 5 people fired there so far.
My former coworkers who are showing up every morning to serve their country at the ranger station are living in fear, and they can't come and talk to you guys about this. So someone's got to.
It's scary. There's fear of backlash.
Rachel, a federal healthcare worker, helped organize this rally. She believes these cuts are impacting all Americans, not just the federal employees losing their jobs.
We are here today to remind the public of who we are, to celebrate what we do, and to let this country know that we do want to serve.
The federal building behind these protesters is home to the Bonneville Power Administration. Since January, the Trump administration has cut more than 400 BPA jobs. Over the weekend, they restored 30 of those positions. Jobs which sources tell KGW could impact reliability or other important functions of BPA. Those here say it's a nod to the danger and uncertainty of these massive federal cuts.
And it's not my job, it's not the National Forest System. I am more concerned about our democracy.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
We also caught up with a former U.S. ambassador who now works at Lewis and Clark College about the dismantling of USAID. Within hours of taking office last month, President Trump put a freeze on foreign assistance. Trump described USAID's programs as both wasteful and promoting a liberal agenda. The Trump administration is also trying to lay off thousands of USAID employees, but a federal judge had ordered a temporary pause on that plan. We spoke to Niels Marquardt, a former U.S. ambassador who worked at the State Department for 33 years. He says he's deeply concerned about what's happening.
USAID is the place in the U.S. government where we know how to deliver medicines to people who are sick, and we know how to deliver disaster relief to people that have been hit by an earthquake or a drought or a cyclone or a hurricane. And all of that is at risk as our government has summarily dismissed thousands of people around the world who are doing this work. We have really given up probably our preeminent tool for soft power projection in the world, something that wins us friends and demonstrates that we're not just a powerful and a wealthy country, but we're also a generous country. And that's a value that's important to Americans.
He says he's worried countries like China and Russia may try to step into the humanitarian void the U.S. leaves behind and bring with them much less experience to the table. Let's talk about the city of Portland for a moment. It is facing a massive budget shortfall of more than $100 million. That means layoffs that will likely include cuts to public safety. KGW's Blair Best sat down with City Administrator Michael Jordan, who runs day-to-day operations. He says all departments, including police and fire, need to prepare for potential cuts.
The 120 staffers, are we still looking at that number, or is it going to be substantially higher?
It's the beginning number. It's possible that it could go up.
So what departments are you looking at, though, for any potential staff cuts?
Well, all of them, almost.
Yeah, bleak outlook. You can watch Blair's full interview and read through the transcript at kgw.com. To some very big news now, especially for animal lovers out there. The newest baby elephant at the Oregon Zoo made her first public debut on Friday. The zoo says Rose 2's 2-week-old calf, Tula 2, started hanging out with the rest of the herd in areas where people can see her. Since her birth on February 1st, Tula 2 has received national attention. NBC's Today Show named her frontrunner for cutest animal of 2025. Definitely would have to agree with that assessment. Her birth is also really important. Asian elephants are endangered animals threatened by habitat loss. And the animal love continues with 41 cats that arrived at the Oregon Humane Society this week as part of the ongoing recovery from deadly floods in the Midwest last year. Those floods damaged and in some cases destroyed thousands of homes, costing over $130 million in damage. The Oregon Humane Society says most of those cats are ready for a new home and can be found on their adoption website. Hope they get some love. Okay, now let's get a look at your weather.
On a pleasant, dry Friday morning, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. This is KGW 8 Plus weather update for you. I'm going to spend most of my time talking about the rain for the weekend. It's going to be a pretty nice Friday. We do have a scattered shower threat this afternoon along the coast, and then more like evening scattered shower chances push into the valley. But here's the atmospheric river setup, and notice there's Honolulu in Hawaii. When these moisture plumes come from a tropical or south origin, they get the nickname Pineapple Express. This was kind of a mini one because it's not going to last that long, probably less than 2 days or less than 48 hours. But you can see the main plume of moisture. It's right in here. And this cloud band ahead of it is not really the atmospheric river. It's back here, but it's going to be tracking up to where this weaker weather system will bring us cloud cover today and eventually some scattered showers inland, as I mentioned. These atmospheric rivers almost always come with dew points that are 50 or higher. They almost always come with warming weather. Remember, warmer air holds more water than colder air. It's really difficult for Portland to get an inch of rain in a 24-hour period if the dew point is under 50. So that's one of the things we look at as forecasters. This time around, the snow level will pop up to 7,000 for Saturday and Sunday. So that's all rain over the Cascade Passes, and in fact, all rain up at Timberline as well. So no snow and ice on any of the Cascade highways, the main passes, I should say. But heavy rain can be its own hazard, as I'm sure you realize. Weather models continuing to be consistent in producing 3 to as much as 4 inches of rain from Saturday afternoon into Sunday night at the coast, and generally up to about 2 inches of rain in the valley. There are some models that are suggesting that this map will eventually readjust itself to show higher rain totals to our south and not as high up to the north. So we'll see. But it's definitely going to be widespread rain, and I'm talking about measurable rainfall amounts, half of an inch out in La Grande all the way across eastern Oregon and eastern Washington. So our KGW weather impact alert from Saturday afternoon through Sunday. Steady rain Saturday afternoons when it starts, goes through Sunday night, rising coast range rivers. If the data we're looking at as forecasters turns out to be correct, we probably generally stay below the threshold of any significant concern for coast range rivers getting above their banks. But with that said, it seems like in these events, there's almost always at least one river that jumps its banks and produces some flooding. That concern would be setting up during the day Sunday into Sunday night. Valley high water hazards just from steady rain falling for hours. This becomes a concern as early as Saturday overnight and then stays a concern through Sunday night. We're talking about ponding on roadways, low-level intersections, that type of thing. And in the dark, that's always a heightened concern, right? Because you can't see the water until you drive into it. All right, here's Futurecast. I mentioned today's pretty nice. Some early morning sunshine potentially, and then we cloud over with clouds increasing across all of the state. Now, there could be some afternoon showers along the coast. This doesn't really show that, but it's possible. This does show the scattered showers pushing inland this evening, and then we wake up tomorrow morning and there could be some shower activity around. But if you have, like I'm playing golf tomorrow morning, I think we're teeing off at 9. I'm going to have my umbrella with me, but I hope that we get through most of the round without there being much rain. So that's a possibility for your morning plans. Here's the main rain event offshore. Now, this comes in not before noon, and then it's still questionable. Does it hit us with steady rain by 1 or is it closer to 3? So that timing is still a bit suspect. This is 2 o'clock on the most updated models showing the steady rain hitting the I-5 corridor from Seattle all the way down into Portland. And then once that starts, you just see the continued waves of moisture coming in Saturday overnight and the Sunday morning. This does start to break it up as early as Sunday afternoon, which I think is a little too soon, so we'll see. But you get the idea. Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, for the most part, all day Sunday, expect the rain to be widespread and steady with heavy rain pockets, especially Saturday overnight through Sunday morning. All right, Valley forecast numbers for today. Nice. Salem could jump all the way to 56. Mostly cloudy, that late afternoon or evening shower threat picking up. Southeast winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Southwest Washington, not as warm, but still nice. Longview 52, mostly cloudy, late day evening shower chances. Southeast winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Here are the numbers at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Chance of showers at the coast and then evening inland. 50-degree temperatures coast and valley. A dry day with mostly cloudy skies, but hitting 50 in Bend and Madras. The Dow's 47. And then you've got 30s and 40s out across eastern Oregon with some morning sun and then increasing clouds coming. Not much wind today. East winds to about 15 out in the gorge. That's really about it. 7-day forecast numbers. We have the impact alert for Saturday afternoon into early Monday mornings. We'll be monitoring high water issues potentially. For today, again, it's late day or not until the evening. Scattered shower threat 53. Some rain around in the form of showers potentially Saturday morning. We get past noon and then you start to look for the rain to become widespread and picking up with the heavy rain pockets through the day Sunday and maybe continuing into Sunday night before it starts to break up. We have the impact alert. Notice Sunday morning you wake up, could be 55 when you wake up Sunday morning. So this is, as is often the case with these events, very mild, warm air carrying the rain with it. Then we have a shower threat that lingers or decreases on Monday, lingers into Tuesday. And it still looks like we have the warmest couple of days of the year setting up next Wednesday and Thursday with daytime highs jumping up to about 60 degrees. I didn't talk much about wind. Some of the models are showing that it'll be a breezy day Saturday along the coast with potential for winds from the south. The latter part of tomorrow gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. With the rain coming down over the weekend, it's mostly going to be a south to southeast breeze, 10 to 20 miles per hour in the I-5 corridor. And that is your update. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. This is KGW 8+ weather forecast.
And that is a wrap on your weekly recap. Again, I'm Christine Pitawanich. Remember, you can always catch up on the latest headlines anytime on KGW.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.